Hello and welcome to the first ever FPL video on this channel. Today we are doing a team selection for game week 9. But first off, let me start off by showing my game week 8 results. So for game week 8, I did a wildcard and got 65 points, which puts me in the rank of 260k. These are my teams which are picked for game week 8. So I went in heavily on Man City and Newcastle players. Both teams I got 3 players each. For Newcastle, I have Kieran Trippier. Kieran Trippier got an assist and almost got 1 goal from a free kick, but unfortunately, it's FPL luck. It hit the post and he did not get any goals in returns. But he got 1 assist, which I'm pretty happy about. And then there's Isak, which I took a risk to captain him, and he got a penalty goal and a bonus point. So his total points are actually more than Haaland, which I'm very satisfied on. And then there's also Nick Pope, who should have gotten that clean sheet if not for that Bournemouth 1 goal. And then you have Man City players. For Cancelo, he got a clean sheet because Wolves are just terrible at scoring goals. And then for De Bruyne, the initial intention to get De Bruyne is because I wanted to replace him with Salah on game week 12 because I may need to bring in Salah on game week 12 depending on how Salah perform over the next few game weeks. So I need a player that's kind of like the price points is similar to Salah so that I can get him in easily. And for Haaland, what can I say, man? There's nothing much to say here. There's a saying, form is temporary, class is permanent. Then for Haaland, I think you have both form and class, so he's a must pick for any team. And then for Mitrovic, it's a little bit disappointing because you would expect Forest to concede a few goals. They did concede 3 goals, but you would expect, when you see that kind of scoreline, you would expect Mitrovic to get some kind of attacking returns, but there was none, no assists, no goals, which is quite frustrating to watch. And also, not just for Mitrovic, I think for owners that, FPL owners that actually own Andres, Andres Pereira should have gotten some returns too, but he did not get any returns. It was some other players in Fulham. So in terms of differentials, I have a differential player which is Maddison, and he did well and scored 1 goal against Spurs. Spurs is not a easy game to begin with, but I was initially deciding between Maddison and Bowen, but after that I got Maddison because I think Maddison has better returns over the past few games, and also the better fixture in the next few games. And that sums up my game week 8 results, which I'm pretty satisfied about. So for this game week, there are 2 decisions that I need to make. Number 1 is who should be replacing Isak. There's a rumor he's gonna be out for a couple of weeks because of his injuries. For his replacement, do we go for a premium forward or do we go for a differential forward who is cheaper? And then number 2, who should we be dropping to the bench, and is it risky to be doing what I'm going to do now? Because in my team, I'm gonna be benching 1 player, which is quite controversial. So without further ado, let's start with my game week 9 team selection. First up, we have Nick Pope in goal. Okay, in terms of Pope, he's getting a lot of saves every game. In fact, I think he has the most save among goalkeepers, if I'm not wrong. And then even though Ward is playing Forest, who has difficulties scoring goals, I'm still not convinced to choose him, because even though I think Pope will concede against Fulham, but it's almost guaranteed that Ward will concede even more. So in terms of save point too, I think Pope is more near on in terms of getting higher save point. So I'm definitely going with Pope on this one. My next player in defense is Reece James. So Reece James played 1 Champions League game on the Porto. He's still playing that advanced wingback role, and he's still very attacking in that game. So I feel that personally that the new Chelsea manager may have something to prove here, and if Chelsea were to depend on 1 player to change the course of the game, the manager is gonna depend on players like James and Sterling. So definitely James is near on in my team. My next pick is Cancelo. We all know what a derby match is. Players will be motivated, will be trying to do everything they can to secure a win. And it's Man City home. So this is a match that cannot lose because They can't lose this game in front of their home fans. So you expect Cancelo to put on a show here, perhaps even getting an assist or goal. You never know, to be honest. And then the next player is Kieran Trippier. In terms of Fulham, they are conceding a lot of goals, averaging about 2 goals per game. I do expect them to concede against Newcastle, and Isak is not available, and Wilson is coming back to the team, but he's lacking in match sharpness. So the one player I think we can all turn to goals is one of the candidates is perhaps Trippier, or maybe he's the only candidate, because in the Newcastle team, there's not much options left, except for maybe Alan Saint-Maximin, which I'm not so sure whether he will be back in the team. But in terms of goal scoring, in terms of a set piece specialist who can produce a magic goal from a free kick or an assist from a corner, I would bet that attacking return will be, highly likely to be Trippier. And my next pick is Kofel from West Ham. From an attacking point of view, we know that Wolf is not great at scoring goals. We know that West Ham is playing at home, so Kofel may get that clean sheet. We know that West Ham needs a result to move up the table so that they can fulfill their European dreams, to play football at Europa League or Champions League. They need their players to perform. And you expect them to protect their lead when they're 1-0 or 2-0 up. So I think Kofel is, there's a high chance that he will be getting some, clean sheets. I'm not convinced that he will be getting attacking returns, but I think in terms of clean sheet, he's quite near on. So let's move on to midfield side. And for my midfield first pick, we have James Maddison. Maddison is a great pick for my last game week. And I think for this game week, he will be a great pick too, because the opponent that he's facing is Nottingham Forest. So in terms of Forest, they are conceding a lot of goals. So you expect them to concede against a strong attacking side like Leicester. So playing a very advanced role and constantly getting into the box and taking many shots. This is the attributes for Maddison. And I think the team for Leicester team is dependent on Maddison's for goals and assists. So you expect Maddison to get some sort of attacking returns here. So it's definitely the focal point of Leicester right now. So my next pick is Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, we all know that he loves big games like this, especially against a team like Manchester United. So you can expect him to be motivated and extremely driven to win this match. And he's also playing at home and he's a quality player. So I don't see any reason why we are not picking De Bruyne. So hopefully he can get some points and attacking returns too. So in my next pick, we have Martinelli. Martinelli has been amazing and is on form so far this season. The only problem is that he's playing an informed Spurs, who is a brand new side under Antonio Conte. But anything can happen in this kind of derby match, especially between fierce rivals like Spurs and Arsenal. Both teams will want the bragging rights against each other, and you expect it to be a high-scoring goals match. And in terms of attacking returns, if we look at the form, if we look at the past few game weeks, the stats, Martinelli is at the very top right now. And he's also playing at home, so perhaps he can get some kind of attacking returns here. And then we have Isak in goal. Now there are reports that saying Isak is going to be out and injured for a couple of weeks. He's not able to play for a couple of weeks. So we cannot have a 7 million player sitting on the bench for a few weeks. So we are going to be replacing him using my free transfer this week. My next pick for striker is Haaland. To me, this is an absolutely no-brainer pick. It's too obvious. If you do not have Haaland, just get him into your team. He's already at 81% ownership. So if you don't have him, you're gonna lose out to many other FPL players on the long term. And lastly, my team, we have Mitrovic. I know he did not get any attacking returns last game week, but if you look at his overall performance over the last few games, he has been quite consistent in his attacking returns and getting 1 goal per game. He's getting a lot into the penalty box. He's taking tons of shots in that area. I think he was one of the players that taking the most shot. I think he was, if not the top one, if not the top two. So I think his first instinct is to score, is to shoot and score, which gave him that decent, I would say fairly well attacking returns. And lastly, for my bench, we have Ward, Zaha, Nico Williams, and Andrews. So even though Leicester is playing against Forest, but I feel this is the only thing working in Ward's favor. He's most likely going to concede more than Pope. He's more likely going to get lesser save point than Pope. And Newcastle is not a bad team in defense versus Leicester defense, who has been poor the entire season. I would say for the past few game weeks, not the entire season. And then we have Zaha on my bench. Now that you can argue that Chelsea is not looking good in defense under Tuchel, but now that they have a new manager in Graham Potter, defensively, I think that they did pretty well against their opponent in the Champions League. This means there's a possibility that Zaha may not be getting any attacking returns in this game because the focus on Chelsea match could be on stability instead. And then we have Nico Williams and Andrews on my bench. Nico Williams is playing a strong Leicester side, so you expect Forest to concede at least a few goals. And Andrews has been just poor for the entire few game weeks. I think he got like 2 assists over the 6 game week, no goals. So against a team like Newcastle, who is doing quite okay defensively, I think Andrews may struggle to perform there. So he's on my bench too. So in terms of transfer, we know that Isak is going to be out for a couple of weeks. So the most obvious replacement for Isak is Ivan Toney. But if I were to transfer him in with that price of 7.3 million now, I would have difficulties getting Salah in game week 12 when Man City blank. So because I don't want to waste that one additional transfer to bring Salah, because if I bring in Toney, I will be cash short, and I will need to waste probably 2 transfer to get in Salah and sacrifice maybe another one of the premium player. And I don't want to do this. I mean, I want to keep my transfer to 1 transfer to get in Salah. So I don't want to be in the kind of situation where I don't have the options to get back Salah either. So which means I'll be looking for a cheaper forward around 6 million. So in this category, the most sensible options will be either Mbumo or Solanke, I would say. And if I were to get Mbumo, I might as well just get Ivan Toney, right? Because Ivan Toney is playing in the same team as Mbumo, and he's more likely to be getting some attacking returns compared to Mbumo. So in terms of the players, that's 6 million. The other options would be other sensible options would be Solanke. So looking at Bournemouth fixture for the next few games, Brentford, Leicester, Fulham, and Southampton, where there are 3 home games out of these 4 games, you expect Solanke to get some decent points here. So in terms of captaincy, in terms of captain armband, let's put it on Haaland, and for the vice captain, I'll put it on Maddison. I was actually deciding between Haaland or Maddison for the captaincy. I feel quite tempted to get, the captain armband on Maddison, but I have to consider a few things here. Both are playing at home. Both are on-form players, so they're pretty even match out. I mean, Haaland is definitely a little bit more on form. I think in terms of motivation, maybe Haaland have the slight edge because it's a derby match against Manchester United. So he may be looking to make a statement in this match, to get some sort of attacking returns. And I would say in terms of captaincy, Haaland maybe would edge a little bit over Maddison. So for this game week, I'm definitely going with Haaland instead. Hey guys, so let me know down in the comments below what are your thoughts on my team selection and whether I make a mistake not choosing Maddison over Haaland. And stay tuned for more FPL contents. I will be posting videos like the transfer tapes videos and team selection videos and maybe other contents as well. So alright, I wish everyone the best for game week 9 and I will see you in the next video.